Hello there, welcome along. This is Discover Your Passion and Purpose with Archetypes, and thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday night. This is a really exciting topic for me, and you'll know why I'm giggling as we go through this. Love excitement. So really glad that you've come along to check it out, and I hope that I can answer your questions and help you get to the core of who you are and what lights you up, and give you some understanding about the things that you don't like to do, because it really does turn the light bulb on. Excellent. So people are coming in as we speak, which is wonderful to see. So thank you guys so much. And computer's being slow today. There we go. For those of you who know me, there's my face, and for those of you I haven't yet had the pleasure to meet, that's me. My name is Shan Lawson, and I am your accountability buddy. And I'll just give you a bit of background on me. I have just bounced around in my life from job to job. Some things were absolutely clear to me that I did not enjoy. I did not enjoy working in retail. I liked the people, and I liked learning new stuff, which you'll get to know about me, but there was many elements that I just thought, this is not for me whatsoever. But I was never one of those people that had a burning desire, from childhood, and the people that do have that, I'm so envious of them. And I think it's wonderful if you are absolutely in tune and in touch with that, and you are on a path from a very young age and it lights you up, then bravo. If you're anything like me and you just, tried out different stuff, but you were never really lit up. You never went, I found my calling, so to speak. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a sip of water so that I don't sound all croaky for you. One sec. Okay. So, I'm not saying I had a terribly unhappy life, but it was never had that thing, and I've seen it in people that have that thing, and they just know that they're doing what they love. They get out of bed each day excited, they're passionate, and they're full of purpose. So as I said, I had a few different roles, and about 3 years ago, I had a major life event, which happens for a lot of people, that things come up, things happen, and it was in my career, and I thought, this is not where I thought I was going to be. I'm in my 40s, and I just thought it would be so different by now, and I'm looking around thinking, really, is this where I'm at? I don't know how the hell I got here, and I certainly don't know where it is I'm going. So I spent a lot of time, I spent about 3 months navel gazing and trying to work out what it is I did want to do. And I researched a hell of a lot of stuff online about how to work out what you're passionate about, because that was my driving force. I'd heard so many people say, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. And I thought that sounded fantastic, and I wanted a piece of that. But I didn't know what I was passionate about. So I wanted someone to help me uncover that. So as I said, I did all this research, and most of the sites and things that I went to and information I read said, well, just write down a list of stuff that excites you, that lights you up, that makes you happy. And I thought, well, I don't know what that is. Nothing really pushes my buttons. Nothing really, I know that, if I could just hang it all and throw it to the wind, I would do that. I didn't have that. And that just made me so frustrated, because I thought I was going to get the answer from people, and I know the answer had to come from me, but I really thought I would get some more guidance. So what I did from there was I became a life coach, because I thought I need to get inside my own head and sort this stuff out. And I love life coaching. I love helping people, change their way of thinking and embrace a new way of thinking and get out of the hell, the mindset hell they put themselves in. So I've really enjoyed that ride, but I still hadn't found my niche within coaching. I tried on a few different hats. I was going to be a relationship coach, and then I was going to do this, and I was going to do that. I still couldn't find that thing that lit me up until I came across this work on archetypes. And then it was like the heavens opened and the angels were singing, and I just said, this is it. This is absolutely what I want to do. I want to do more of this, and I want to spread the message of this to help other people, because when you get this, it just makes so much sense and makes your life so much more enjoyable. So that was a bit of a long rant, so I apologize. But that's my welcome to you and a little bit of background on me. So I just want to give the thanks to Pip Mackay and the Archetype Academy, who I'm studying this material with. I am actually a licensed Passion and Purpose coach. So a lot of the information and bits and pieces come from my study through the Archetype Academy. So I just want to acknowledge Pip for that. So before we start anything together, what I always love to do, no matter what topic I'm talking on, I love people to set their intention for the evening. So I really, really want you to have a piece of pen and paper handy for this whole thing, because I'm going to give you a rundown on each of the different 8 Passion and Purpose archetypes. So I want you to take your own notes as you're going so that you can resonate with the ones that really, really speak to you. But before I do that, if you do have your pen and paper, if you don't have your pen and paper, I'll give you a couple of seconds to go and scrounge one up. And on a lot of my webinars, I tell people it's okay if you don't have it, you can just do it in your head. But you're really going to need pen and paper on this whole webinar, guys. So take the time now, get a pen and paper. For those of you who already have it in front of you, you can get a jump start on this. Set your intention for this webinar. What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to know by the end of it? What kind of shift in your mindset do you want to have? What kind of clearer understanding do you want to have? What do you want to take this knowledge, or, part of this, what area of your life do you want to apply it to, and how do you want that to change it? Just, there was something that drew you to register for this webinar. There's something inside of you that may be unfulfilled. I just want you to set the intention of what, this isn't just something else you're going to listen to and something else you're going to gather knowledge on, unless you're one of the types of archetypes, and we'll get to that later as well. But you must have a reason for spending this hour with me, which I do thank you for, but I want you to acknowledge what that is and put that down on pen and paper. On pen and paper. Just on the paper using the pen, that would be great. Just having another sip of water while you guys write that down. And I won't get you to share that with anybody, because I want that to be really, really private. So I want you to be as honest as possible with that, because breathe a sigh of relief. You're not going to have to read anything out. Okay. In saying that, if you do have a question for me, if you haven't done a webinar before, I just want you to notice that the little buttons there is a little hand button. If you pop that up, if you have a question for me, then just pop your hand up and I can take you off mute and we can chat if you're happy to do that. If you don't actually want to come off mute but you still want to ask me a question, there's a little chat box there where you can type in a message. You can just type that in and I will read out your question and answer that for you. So I hope that's cool. Excellent. So I just want to run you through the 10 fears that stop passion. And yeah, I'll just run through the list first. And so there's fear of failure. I mean, you guys can see this as well, but I'm going to read them out. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of disappointment, fear of loneliness, fear of unworthiness, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of criticism, fear of making a mistake, and fear of being unlovable. So of those fears, just looking through that, I know when I did this exercise, there are probably two that are your two big fears, your two drivers. And whether you write down the full words of those two or whether you just write down two numbers of the ones that speak out to you, I want you to also do that on your piece of paper or your journal or whatever you're using tonight. So what two are your biggest fear drivers? I know the first one that my eyes went to when I did this exercise was fear of rejection. That's a big one for me. I'm often scared when I reflect back on my life that I always wanted to do things correctly in case the group I was with didn't like it and rejected me from it. Cool. Okay. So you've all got your two top fears that kind of get in the way of you achieving your passion. So we're going to go through the 8 passion and purpose archetypes in detail, as we go along. But I just want to let you know, when things get in your way, there are also 8 shadows of passion and purpose. So when you're when you're completely on purpose and you're doing what you love, you're absolutely in the light. But when the same archetype can appear as a shadow self, and these directly correlate with the archetypes, and it's like, the light and the dark. So the shadow selves of the 8 archetypes are the perfectionist, the pusher, the procrastinator, the pleaser, the saboteur, the knower, the protector controller, and the inner critic. So if any of those speak to you really loudly when you're not, when you're being your true self, but the not good version of yourself, if that makes sense, then one of those might already be jumping out at you as well. Okie dokie. So what is an archetype? I've been banging on now for a few minutes about archetypes. What is an archetype? Well, firstly, it's universal. So it's something that every person, every culture on the planet will understand. And they mightn't have the same image for it, as in Merlin or King Arthur, but they will have an understanding of the kind of thing that you're talking about. So when I say to you, what is Mother Earth? Everyone on this planet will have a version of Mother Earth that they understand what that is. So it's a universal thing. Oh, my friend Kylie Walker's just popped in. Hi, Kylie. I just got to take you off mute for 1 sec because... Hi, Kylie.
Hi.
Oh, there I can hear. How are you?
Yeah. Good. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're just going through... you haven't missed a whole bunch and you'll get the recording, so I just want to welcome you in.
Thank you.
All right, I'll pop you back on mute, hun.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so archetypes are universal. So if, Mother Earth, if I said to you guys now, like, what is Mother Earth to you, the kinds of words, and you can type some in, the usual list is nurturing, warm, loving, those sort of things. You understand what an archetype is. Like, it just speaks to the core. You have an innate understanding of it, and that's one of the words that are on there. You just get what it is. It's symbolic. So when I say Mother Earth, you'll imagine probably a woman, mother, but she's rounder and warm. It's just that symbol for those feelings and those emotions that you have when you say that. And it's the absolute ideal of who you are. Carl Jung came up with a whole bunch of different archetypes. I think he had over 100. But they were more of those, I mean, the archetypes are set, and there's only the few that we're going to talk about. The 100 that Carl Jung talked about were actually more of the shadow, more of the opposite side of each, you know, breaking something down. So he would be talking about the stereotypes or the shadow forms that come from each of those archetypes. And a stereotype, I guess, is if you say Mother Earth on one side, but if you said a 1950s housewife, she's a stereotype. She's not an archetype. So I hope you can see the difference in that. And a shadow, which is a lot of the stuff that Carl Jung talked about, was just a repeated common pattern, and it's not the ideal. So, you know, again, the 1950s housewife is not the ideal mother. But when you talk about Mother Earth, that is ideal to everybody. So I hope that's clear. And you guys can slow me down if I'm going too fast or ask questions. It's all cool. Okay, so where did all this stuff come from? I want to give you a little bit of a background on how we got to all these archetype work. You may have heard of the book by Plato called The Republic. You know, it's what our democratic society is mostly based on. In the back of Republic, there's a book called The Myth of and James Hillman has done a fantastic book called The Soul's Code, and a lot of this work that I'm learning from Pip, that I'm now teaching to you guys, comes from the work of James Hillman and on this study of the myth of that's in the back of the Republic. So I'm now going to read to you a little portion of James's book that kind of describes where all this comes from, so that I can kind of set the scene for where all this archetype stuff happens. So the idea comes from Plato, his myth of at the end of his most well-known work, The Republic, and I can put this idea in a nutshell. The soul of each of us is given a unique daemon before we are born and has selected an image or pattern that we live on earth. This soul companion, the daemon, guides us here in the process of arrival. However, we forget that all took place and we believe we come empty into the world. However, the daemon remembers what is in your image and belongs to your pattern, and therefore your daemon is the carrier of your destiny. As later explained by the Platonists, we elected the body, the parents, the place, and the circumstances that suited the soul, and that, as the myth says, belongs to its necessity. This suggests that the circumstances, including my body and my parents, whom I may curse, are my soul's own choice. And I do not understand this because I've forgotten. So that we don't forget, Plato tells the myth, and in the very last passage says that by preserving the myth, we may better preserve ourselves and prosper. In other words, the myth has a redemptive psychological function, and a psychology derived from it can inspire a life grounded to it. Then, the myth implies, we must attend very carefully to childhood, to catch early glimpses of the daemon in action, to grasp its intentions and not block its way, to recognize the call as a prime fact of human existence, align life with it, find the common sense to realize that accidents, including heartache and the natural shocks to the flesh it is heir to, belong to the pattern of the image, are necessary to it, and help fulfill it. A calling may be postponed, avoided, intermittently missed. It may also possess you completely. Whatever, eventually it will come out. It makes its claim. The daemon does not go away. So that's from the Soul's Code, and that's how it's basically saying we have already chosen our parents, our body, our everything before we come in, but according to the myth, we drink at the pool of forgetfulness, and when we come into the world, we can't remember what it is we're supposed to do. Damn it. So, but the daemon knows. The daemon is your soul's companion that hangs with you, and it's said that it's, some people call it like your guardian angel, but this guardian angel is not, fluffy and nice. This one's fiery. This one will kick your butt when you're off purpose. And they also said that the daemon, just as your soul was being made, put its finger just below your nose on your top lip, and it burnt a little indent in there, and that's what that indent is. And when you're thinking about what it is you should do, oftentimes you're tapping that, like going, I wonder what I should be doing. They say that's your daemon making sure that you're thinking about being on purpose, and it kind of plays that game with you, when you're a kid, and if you're getting close to your purpose, your daemon's going, you're hotter, 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 warmer, 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 that's it. And, when you're getting off purpose, it feels colder and colder, and you get more bored and you procrastinate more, and you definitely know you're on the wrong track. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying we're here talking to angels. I'm just saying it's the premise of the myth of the understanding of the psychology that we come into this world with a passion and a purpose. So I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, and I've lost you, and you're all dialing out, then that's cool too. But you're still with me, so that's good. Hang on, I'm just going to have another sip of water because I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour, as you can hear. Okay. So that's the myth of and that's Plato's way of reminding us to always seek out our passion and our purpose. So I think that's kind of cool. So why is it important that we know what our archetypes are? And honestly, when I found out what mine were, it changes every single aspect of my life. I understand why I don't like certain music, why I don't like certain movies, and I absolutely understand why I enjoy certain types of exercise over others, which is incredible. I just don't get why I would push myself to go and do treadmill-y kind of work, but when I understood it is not who I am at my core. I understand why I love to go and bounce around and do step classes. So it can help you in every aspect of your life, not just your career, but it certainly does help your career. And the amazing thing I find when I'm working with people, they often come to me to think they want to find a new career, and some people do, and that's great. But some people I work with, a lot of people I work with, when they find out what their archetypes are, they find what they love inside themselves and just bring that to their current job and make their whole experience more enjoyable. So they don't have to go out and find a new job. They just bring out more of the qualities of them that make their life just so much more pleasurable. So it's a brilliant thing to watch, and it's amazing to see it come over people's faces. So when you go through the archetypes, there's no way when I tell you your archetypes and I'm working with somebody and I give them their archetypes, it says, therefore you must be A. It's not it's not a career counseling session to find your archetype, but it certainly can add to the pleasure of your career. And if you're not happy in a certain role and you need to move on to a new role, you'll know what you need to go toward to satisfy your archetypes. I hope that makes sense. But this will become clearer as we go through the archetypes anyway. So that's why it's so important to know, because it's not just about job career, which a lot of people think this is what it's about. I mean, who knew you can find out what best way to exercise as well. I love that. Awesome. Just reading a question. Hang on a sec, guys. Does the different types always apply to? I'm not really sure what you mean. Sorry, John, if you can retype that in, that would be fantastic because I'm a little bit unclear what you're saying. Thanks. Cool. Okay, you'll get back to me. Awesome. Maybe the answer to that will come as we go along, so just hang tight, and if it doesn't, then please post the question back again. Is that cool? Yes, excellent. Okay. So let's get into the types. This is what we're waiting for. Yes, let's get into the types. The very, very first type is the innocent adventurer. And these are the key words that light an innocent adventure up: freedom, energy, inspiration, fun, flying, happy, wonder, adventure, and new. So, you know, if you're a freedom fanatic, if you love to go off on adventures with no real end in mind, if you're fearless about jumping off into new experiences, if there's a childlike innocence and wonder about you, or if you get bored really easily and you need lots and lots and lots of variety, or if you're a person that constantly seeks out new things, then this could very well be your archetype. People with this archetype are like, you know, they're like Peter Pan and they're forever young. And this really creates an endearing quality about them that people just love and trust. And people also feel inspired by, you know, their cavalier, pioneering energy. They also like to clown around and have a joke, and fun is absolutely a key motivator for them, as is freedom. If it's not fun and exciting, then they don't want to do it. They are full of enthusiasm and they're constantly having loads and loads and loads of ideas, and they're usually doing 100 things at once. They love to travel and have new experiences, and they love the freedom of flying somewhere that is absolutely new. That's one of their greatest joys. In shadow, however, they can be scattered, unfocused, and hyperactive. They can begin lots of things and not finish them, and they can also burn out doing too many things at once. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because if things aren't new and exciting, they feel depressed, and yet doing too many things can lead to adrenal exhaustion. So you'll never guess by the rate of words that I speak, but this is my number one archetype. I am an innocent adventurer. And what was such a relief, I guess, when I found this out, is that all the time I've been running a business, I always just thought, to run a business, you must be serious and knuckle down, and you have to, you know, all the fun I wanted to have and all the freedom I wanted to have, you know, I would write down my values, and I would write fun and freedom, and I thought they're not good business values. That's just because I would look around at other people that were being successful, and that was not their values. And so I was always down on myself to try and be different. But I can't be different. This is who I am at my core. And when I went and did this training with Pip and found out that an innocent adventurer is also Richard Branson, my God, was that a relief off my shoulders. I thought you can have innocence and fun and love flying and being crazy and still be very, very successful. So that was a huge weight off my shoulders. So now I've just embraced my innocent adventurer, and as I said to you earlier, it impacts how I exercise, because I am not a long distance runner. I'm not a treadmill bumper. I'm a dance around to music, being absolutely crazy, doing step classes or Zumba or something like that. That's me. That I will do that 7 days a week if I need to, because that just makes me happy. So if anybody else out there is an innocent adventurer, you can type into me or raise your hand. Yes. Okay, we got a few. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So the second type is the magician, and the key words for the magician are magic, transformation, channeling, focus, skill, change, catalyst, craft, and extraordinary. So this type is a catalyst for change, and they love to make dreams come true, and there is an absolute magical quality about them and what they do. Magicians are really able to concentrate and focus easily, and they can get so single-minded that they can block everyone else, and they constantly seek improvement. People with this archetype love astounding transformations, and they're able to do things that just seem impossible to others, and that's because they hone their craft. They concentrate and they practice away from others, and then when they just perform their duties, people just think they're a magician. This creates an absolute magical quality about them that attracts people who wish to be amazed or who want to make a change in a way that is different or impressive. They are absolutely able to focus and concentrate their energy in order to manifest what they want rapidly. There can be a sense that they are channeling information, tools and techniques. And if the results don't seem magical to them, then they're not interested. They excel at taking infinite possibilities and narrowing them down to what is most important and then just making it happen. Their skills are impressive and honed, and they are willing to focus on skill and practice until it is perfect, and that it just absolutely looks effortless. And you can see the picture of the magician here. She has one hand above her head and the other one with her finger pointing down. She absolutely channels all of her energy from here into one point. Complete focus. So not me. I'm so all over the place. In shadow, however, they can want things to come with them without the work and the effort, as if by magic. And if this doesn't happen, then they can become really grumpy and frustrated. Or they'll go to the opposite extreme and become obsessed with perfecting a skill and block out everything else. And this can affect all their relationships, their health, and their lifestyle, because they just want it to be perfect. And there's no such thing as perfection, but magicians in shadow will often go and chase that. So a very, very famous magician archetype was Walt Disney. Very, very cool. Just loved magic, loved transformation. And magicians are really kind of right into, like alchemy, changing one thing into something else. It just absolutely lights them up. So if you think you're a magician, type it in. Yeah, we got a couple. Cool. Okie doke. So the third type here is the High Priestess, or she's also known as the Oracle. And these types are mystical or psychic. They like secret ancient wisdom, and they're absolutely able to receive things easily, and they like people to give to them. There's definitely a mysterious, darker quality about this type that is absolutely magnetic. They tend to be way more introverted, and they constantly seek the hidden or the forbidden. Part of you, but not number one, Kylie. Fair enough. That's the magician I think you're talking about. Yes, not the oracle. Just want to make sure. People that are the, yep, good, Kylie. People that are the, Jane's saying she is resonating with High Priestess. Cool, Jane. Just checking with Kylie that she's talking about magician. So we're all in the right place. We're all in the right archetype. Awesome. So people that are oracles are absolutely mysterious and magnetic, and they can tap into hidden resources and knowledge that is absolutely invisible to other people. And this creates a really alluring quality about them that attracts people, even if people don't know why. They go, there's just something about that person. And they find it easy to receive, and others like to give gifts of service to them. They're certainly introverted, and they like to stay out of the spotlight, although because of their internal charisma, they can find themselves thrust into the public. The secret, the historic, and the ancient are key motivators for them. If it's not different, unusual, or hidden, then they honestly just don't want to know. So in shadow, these people can be reclusive, they can become interested in mind-altering drugs, or they can engage in addictive behaviours. Sexually, they tend to be absolutely extreme. They're either virginal and untouched, or they're interested in the dark side of being a sex god or goddess. They can be difficult to get to know, and they can shut down the connections they really desire, because this hidden quality about them when they're in shadow can be really, really strong. So a fantastic oracle high priestess example in real life is Angelina Jolie. She's definitely been thrust into the limelight, but, you know, carrying vials of blood around your neck and just wanting all the time to be hidden. You can see it in her. She just has that inner mysterious kind of high priestess quality. Yeah, not getting a lot of answers on this one. Anyone resonating with this one? A little bit, but not really. No, that's fair enough. This is a very small percentage of the population is this. They're very, very intuitive and very, very psychic, as I said. Quite amazing people, but not the majority. Okay. So the fourth type is the Empress, or she's otherwise known as the creative nurturer, and she likes creativity, imagination, love, understanding, compassion, beauty, nurturing, animals, and art. So this type, as I said, definitely creative and nurturing. They really love to help others feel understood, healed, or fulfilled. And Kylie, I think you typed in the other day, you kind of resonated with this one. They're imaginative, they love children, animals, and nature, and there's absolute caring quality about them that means that other people often tell them their problems. They seem to have people just come to them and share. But then they often get taken advantage of because they're overgenerous and accommodating, and they constantly seek to assist other people. People with this archetype, as I said, are absolutely caring, loving, and they're really, really inventive. And this gives them a really engaging quality that others seek out for encouragement, comfort, and understanding. And children and animals just love them. They're just drawn to them. They're very, very highly creative, and they can be artistic. Imagination and communication are key motivators for them. And if it's not creative or helpful for other people, then they're absolutely not interested. They're also fascinated with emotions and healing, and they're highly, highly empathetic. Looking after Mother Earth and beauty in all its forms is really, really important to them. And they may identify with earth magic, you know, like fairies and elves and talking to animals. The shadow of this type, however, can be overgenerous, overcaring, and overindulgent. This can mean they give too much to others and they have absolutely nothing left for themselves. And when they have nothing left to have self-love and creativity, which is their lifeblood, then they feel worn out. And they can also feel, I guess, resentful, and they can engage in overeating and other comfort behaviours, because if they're not getting that self-love, they're looking for it in food and other activities. So the key for this archetype is to stop sacrificing their own needs in order to fulfill or please others. So is anyone resonating with that one? Oh, I'm getting a few creative nurturers out there. Yeah. This is one of my 3 archetypes, but she's my Kylie, me. Yeah. You're funny. This is my 3rd archetype, so she's in there, but I'm driven by fun first, but yeah, I can see a lot of people do this, and particularly mothers and mother types, and they just give and wear themselves out. So yeah. Okay. And the famous type of this archetype is Oprah. She is just like kind of Mother Earth, just so giving, so amazing. Okay, so the next type is called the organized ruler, or the emperor, or the king. So this type is reasonable and rational, and they love to plan and have absolutely everything organized. They're a natural leader, and they find it really, really easy to tell others what to do. There's a wisdom about them that means that other people come and seek them out for advice. And they feel like there's only one right way to do things, and that's their way. And they constantly seek control. This is so not my type at all. I kind of had none of this in me, but I really, really admire people that are called to lead others. They have a very, very insightful and wise quality about them, and a really no-nonsense strength that people respect. And they excel at taking charge, and they can think reasonably and rationally. And the responsibility that other people find stressful, this is what this archetype thrives on. So rulership and control are absolute key motivators for them, and they have a strong vision for the future. If they're not in the driver's seat, then they're just not interested. They are great providers, and people find them dependable, and they really, really like to plan in advance, and they find it so easy to keep track of spending and running a business or a household. And you'll often find them mentoring others as people do just seek them out to get advice. However, in the shadow, they're overbearing and they're overpowering. They can be dominant and forceful, and they can believe there is only one right way, their way, and they'll dismiss anyone else with different ideas. They're very, very left brain, and this can make them unaware of how they emotionally affect others. And people around them can feel suppressed and not listened to and controlled. And somebody I was talking with today actually resonated with the organized ruler, and she is an absolute leader, and she's certainly not on that shadow side, but it's a very, very powerful archetype. And a real life example of this is Rupert Murdoch. He built such an empire. Love him or hate him, that man built an empire, and that is what that archetype is all about. Any rulers out there? Any emperors? Not really. Okay. Yes, so not me as well. Oh, I am doing a million projects at once. Being organized is just, I need someone else to help me with that one. So, okay, me too. Yeah, good, Jane. Alrighty. So the next type is the sage. So these people are learning fanatics. They love to study just for study's sake and just because it's interesting. They're intuitive, and they just kind of know without knowing how. They just have that thing. There's a certain mentoring and teaching or expert quality about them that others seek out, but not in the way that people seek out a ruler. And they sometimes get too much into the study and they don't apply the information. So they just gather information, but they don't put it into practice. And they constantly seek more knowledge all the time. They just want to know more. People with this archetype are really, they're old souls. Even when they're young, they have that mature, studious kind of quality about them. Way back when, this type were the scribes and the monks, and now they're kind of labelled as nerdy, I guess, the eternal student quality about them. And people seek them out for their expertise and their intuition. They just desire knowledge for knowledge's sake, and they will read everything there is to know about their area of fascination. And if it's not interesting, then they're not interested. They're absolutely full of information and they dearly love to share. They are the teacher who has a passion for their subject, or the computer geek who wants to show you that latest piece of technology. They love libraries, books, history, or IT. In shadow, however, they can collect information and never apply it, or they escape into a world of unreality. They can take, this takes a massive toll on their health because they will stay indoors reading or on the computer for hours and hours and hours. And they can also have problems with relationships. When they're absolutely enthralled by a topic, they can ignore every other person around them and anyone's feelings that are within 5 meters of them and not be present when someone's talking to them. Their mind is literally somewhere else. So is anybody resonating? They might think they might have a bit of sage in them, that just they love learning for learning's sake and gather information. This type can also be an in shadow side, a hoarder. You go into their house, they've just got books and papers and bits piled up everywhere. You can't get through to their desk. Says, don't touch my stuff, I know where it is, and there's just crap everywhere. My husband's son and I, oh my God, Kylie, you've got a house full of sages. But it's lovely because this, as I said, this is my poor daughter. She's surrounded, is she? Oh dear. But it's good because you have a lot of information to share, which is lovely, as long as you do pass it on, which is great. Oh dear. Okay. So I put him in black and white because he's not real life, but he's somebody we know who's an ultimate sage with Steve Jobs. Loved his learning and information, but, in real life could be a bit of an asshole because he would often be more interested in the technology and the learning and the outcome than the people around him. But an incredible mind. Okay. So the 7th type is the lovers, and those are the words that go with them there: intimacy and self-love and angelic and belonging and beauty, and just they love love. They love being in love. They are total romantics, and they love to create intimate relationships, and they're passionate and they're sensitive, and they have this absolutely angelic quality. There's a loving internal beauty that just attracts others to them. And on the downside though, they might brood when their loved one is not paying attention to them, or they constantly seek connection. So on the downside, they can be a bit needy. People with this archetype are absolutely romantic and they're idealistic and they just love to connect with other people. And this creates a tender, passionate quality about them that others just simply adore. And people feel reminded that vulnerability can be a strength and that love, particularly self-love, conquers all. They are true believers and they do not have a cynical bone in their body. And others can think that they are naive, but generally somehow protected, and things come to them because they are angelic. And passion is just their driver. They are full of support for their loved one and they are loyal, open-hearted and appreciative. They seek one-on-one intimate relationships with lovers, friends and colleagues, and they make others feel special by giving undivided attention and acknowledgement. However, on the flip side, they can be unrealistic and codependent. They can escape into a dreamland of imagination, become vague and indecisive. And if there isn't someone special in their life, they feel depressed. They have difficulty saying no to those they love, and therefore they can be taken advantage of. They don't want people to feel lost and alone, so they can collect people along the way who just drain their energy and live off their resources. So is anybody resonating with being one of the lovers? Yep, that's me, says Jane. And this could be like, you know, your third archetype, so it's a little bit less than two of the others you've resonated with, but it might be in there. Yes, that's me, John. Thanks, John, for putting your hand up. Brilliant. So a good current archetype that we know is Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee. Absolute, both of them both have that lover's quality, and they're just in love with each other. Love, love, love. Awesome. So here we are. The 8th and final archetype is the Knight. So this type is competitive and likes to win. They love going on quests and they love fulfilling goals, and they are fearless in the defense of others. There is an absolute strong need to achieve and to be independent with this type. However, on the flip side, they can tend to rescue others, sometimes to their own detriment, and they do constantly seek attention. So guess what? This is my number 2 archetype. I'm an innocent adventurer, then a knight, then a creative nurturer. So this is me, super competitive, love to win, love my sports, all that sort of stuff. So people with this archetype are driven and courageous. They are defenders of the vulnerable, and they're on a quest for the Holy Grail, an ideal. Their Holy Grail is whatever ideal they wish to accomplish. And this creates a chivalry quality about them which other people really admire. People feel attracted to their integrity, their honesty, and their humanitarianism. They can also be really highly competitive and outcome orientated, and they love to win. If there is nothing to gain and no one to see, then they lose motivation. They absolutely adore recognition and achievement. They are action takers, and they love to move quickly towards their future visions. They like to champion a cause, a sport, a team, or a club. They want the freedom to follow their own direction towards their own goals. They are independent, and they can also be maverick. In shadow, however, they can be rescuers who sacrifice their own needs. They can get disillusioned when their ideals don't come to fruition, and this can create despondency and depression. They feel betrayed when others don't recognize their talents or contribution, and they can self-aggrandize when they feel like a fraud if they can't live up to expectations. So the Knight and the Innocent Adventurer are quite similar archetypes, but the Knight is less into fun and more into challenge. But they both enjoy freedom, if that makes sense. So is anyone resonating with the Knight? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, we've got a few Knights out there. That's lovely. So a good real-life example of a Knight is Peter Baines, who actually set up Hands Across the Water to help the people after the tsunami disaster. A very, very on a quest, courageous, amazing man. So those are the 8 types, and I hope, if you're going to get the recording of this, you can run through those again and work out which ones are really speaking to you. And then you'll understand why it is you do certain things and don't do certain things. You know, if like me, your archetype is innocent adventure and you're not having fun, then you have to work out a way to put the fun in it. If you're a creative nurturer and you're not looking after other people, or there's nothing creative in it, then you work out how to put the fun and the creativity and the love into what you're doing. If you're a high priestess or an oracle and there's no mystery in what you're doing, everything's open, then you need to find a way to make it more exciting, to put some mystery, some intuition into your stuff. If you're a knight and there's no champion, no cause to champion, like there's no quest to be on, then you need to find a way to give yourself a challenge. So it's not about that what's happening in your life isn't what you're supposed to be doing. It's how to bring the best out in you and to approach stuff. If you're a sage and you're not learning anything new, then give yourself a challenge to find some new information, but ensure you don't just gather information for information's sake. Make sure you find a way to pass it on, to mentor somebody, to teach something. If you're an emperor and you're not building a an empire, if you're not, there's no logic and reason and opportunities to mentor others in a way that you can give your advice, then you can seek that out. So I'm hoping that's starting to make sense as to how finding out what your true archetype is. Just every time you're thinking, why am I down? Why am I procrastinating? You go, oh, because my, insert your archetype here, isn't getting fed what it needs. Hope that's all making sense. You've all gone quiet. Cool. Okay. So let's share. Did anybody have a real light bulb moment and go, that's me, and now I understand why, that part of me isn't getting lit up or fed or nurtured or whatever, and that's why I'm feeling a lack of energy or I'm not feeling on purpose. John says, I'm definitely a knight and I realize I've had no challenge lately. That's what's been frustrating me. Brilliant. So if you can find a way to introduce a challenge, a quest, somebody or something to champion, that is just going to light you up. Yes. Awesome. Anybody else have an aha moment or resonates with, if not all three, because it's really, really hard. I mean, the way I do this with people, we spend, an hour working out all your stuff. The way I do it is that I go through all your dreams from childhood and we work out not, what did you want to be when you grew up? And it's not the activities, it's what those things meant to you. For example, when I was a child, I wanted to be an airline hostess. And I remember that. And when I did this exercise, it's not because I wanted to be a flying waitress, and apologies to anyone who is an airline hostess. It's because I'm an innocent adventurer, so I love flying, going fast, traveling, all of that sort of stuff. So I could see the qualities of why I loved and was attracted to being an airline hostess when I was a child was because that's who I am at my core. So I don't need to go and become an airline hostess to make my life fulfilled. What I need to make sure is that I keep my innocent adventurer happy and have fun and new things all the time. I'm also a creative nurturer, so I make sure that I have, I work at my home office and I have my dogs around and I always have music playing, so that keeps her happy. And my third one is my knight, which my second one, but my third quality is a knight, so I always have a quest to be on and a challenge and something to champion. And when I'm doing that all the time, when all my three archetypes are being nurtured and taken care of, then this is one happy bunny. Cool. Makes sense? Sister Jane. Yeah, there you go. So that's as much as I can run you through those tonight. There is as you can see, there is so much more to this. But that's scratching the surface. I just wanted to give you the outline, and I want you to really, really attach to one of those and make sure that you're looking after that one that spoke to you, because there must have been one of those 8 that really, really grabbed you, and I want you to embrace that and think of how you can nurture that archetype moving forward. And I'd love to get your feedback on this sort of stuff and chat to you about it, so you can catch me on Facebook, drop me an email, or head on over to my website. More than happy to chat and answer any questions you have. I also have, if anybody wants to go deeper on this stuff and wants to have a free session with me, I've got 3 free sessions left in May, and I was offering free sessions to everybody on my website, and then I got inundated with free sessions, so I've stopped doing that. It was fun, but it was wearing out my creative nurturer. So I'm only offering free sessions now to people that are attending my webinars, and I only have 3 spots left in May. So if anybody wants to grab a free session with me, then please put it on Facebook, send me a private message, send me an email, and I'll book you in and we can go deeper on working out which ones are your passion and purpose archetypes. I hope that was fun, because you see why I wanted it to be fun for you, or informative, or you know, just gave you something different to focus on. It really does get to, it helps you understand your values really easily. As I said, it helps you understand why you do what you do when you know who you are at the core. So you are welcome, John. You are welcome, Jane. You are welcome, Kylie. I really enjoyed presenting that for you guys, and as I said, I'll email you the recording. You can go through again, and if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll chat to you again hopefully soon. Okay, night.